Hello, fellow Homo sapiens. I woke up this morning at 4 a.m., studied for the next 5 hours before going to college, where I studied again for the next 10 hours. Came back home at around, I don't know, 5 p.m. and slept. Got like 4 hours in. Pretty good if I do say so myself, but like, who wastes energy on sleeping? Am I right? Right? Actually, no. What starts with V has good vibes and loves to meet new people. That's right, Vibisha here. The 14-year-old bibliophile who adores the starry skies and enjoys writing poetry. And today we get to speak about the highly romanticized and popularized hustle culture, where we uncover exactly what it is it good or is it bad, and more. So, this wonderful day calls for my wonderful co hosts, Araina and Krisha. Do introduce yourself, guys.
Hello all, my name is Araina. I'm an 11-year-old from Mumbai. So nice to meet you, Vibisha, and I'm really thanking you for letting me join in the podcast.
Hello everyone, I'm Krisha. I'm 13 and I'm from Delhi. I like reading books and writing poetry too. And I relate to the topic, hustle culture, a lot. It has been affecting me as well.
Same here. It's been affecting me for the past 2 years. Definitely want to know more about it.
Hmm. Don't you agree that in our world of fast moving social media platforms, trends, and aesthetics, the popularization of studying hard and working as productively as possible every millisecond of the day has increased?
Definitely do agree on that. Especially as I transited from 8th to ninth, I feel that there's way too much pressure. I have boards next year and then I just feel I'm not prepared for anything. I have exams after exams. It's really way too much pressure.
I,
That's true.
I,
So, exactly. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, I can completely agree with you, Krisha. Even I've been facing a lot of problems like too much exam, too much homework, too much pressure.
That's true. But exactly what is hustle culture? It essentially revolves around the idea of like working towards your goals in life every single day, where taking breaks or like taking a step back is often demonized and referred to as being, well, weak. I mean, it sounds legit, right? Who wouldn't love to study enough to reach their goals? I mean, I sure did when I was in middle school. As the Run Run blog stated, hustle culture is pervasive and is increasingly becoming popular and a benchmark for the best practices in many workplaces. But again, it's nowhere near as great as it's made out to be. Like, sure, the ideology behind it is great, but the execution often leads us to not work towards humans, but rather machines. For example, as you guys stated, from moving to 8th to ninth, I faced the same thing while in my education. I would often work a lot towards my extracurriculars and my academic life, and this caused me to spend like sleepless nights putting my all into this 1 year. And I did pretty great that year. I felt great about my achievements, but I was so tired that I could not do anything for the rest of the time. So I was burnt out for a year. We'll talk more about the topic of burnt out, where basically I remained stagnant and not have the motivation to do anything and was tired for like half the time. What about you, Arena and Krisha? What have you experienced in the past?
Well, I've experienced too much of homework and I haven't completed that till date. So I would say that there was a lot of pressure on me because of the number of subjects homework that we had. So sad, I know.
What I personally feel is that I homework is still okay. Like I can put up with homework somewhere or the other, but exams are too much. Like I had exams, I had cycle tests. Like I had tests every single week, one test per week, and then the day that ended, I got my date sheet and the syllabus for my half yearly exams, which are way bigger than the previous one. So I feel that exams are more intolerable, and that is where it pushes students to do more than they actually can physically. They can't support their bodies anymore. Till the point it gets so worse that we all know that one in every seven children or adolescents these days have mental health issues thanks to hustle culture.
That's true. So, like, as we can see, but there is quite a lot of things that doesn't really align with hustle culture. And it would be a bummer to be burnt out. And while hustle culture is heavily romanticized, it isn't really that efficient. Hustle culture promotes a workaholic behavior where rest is a liability. This often leads to a lot of stress in teenagers to do more, and then it leads to fatigue, resulting in, well, doing nothing. It leads to burnout. Giving your all in one go often leads to one burning themselves out, where you remain stagnant or too tired to do anything. And well, I can say that from personal experience. It leads to comparison and mental drain over each other's progress in life. It also causes brain fog, headaches, isolation, and indecisiveness. And like Krisha said, anxiety in teenagers. There's one thing to make clear that humans are not machines. We aren't designed to work for long hours and create a desired output with the same energy throughout. That's as ridiculous as pineapple on pizza. But in all seriousness, it holds true. So treat yourself like a human being and learn the vitality of working slowly and steadily. So let's take a few examples of big people who have been burnt out before and felt the actual negative aspects of the hustle culture. For example, Jay Shetty, who's quite an inspo for aspiring podcasters and authors. Like many entrepreneurs, he too has gone through burnout. As he says that he has experienced this before. He was in bed for 14 hours a day. He didn't feel like getting out of bed. And no matter how much he ate, no matter how much water he drank, he just didn't feel good. He didn't feel this was the energy that he needed to have. And so he decided to reinvent his life and slow things down. Another YouTube's most prolific creator, Lily Singh, describes her burnout as she was mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually exhausted. And she could be mentally healthier, but there's a lot that she needs to address, and that she's not able to be where she wants to be when she's constantly pumping out content, aka working all the time. So, how do we exactly deal with this whole hustle culture and burnout? Like we've discussed, it is not really as positive, and while it's like really popularized, really told that's amazing to work to for what you want, it is not definitely not effective in the long term. So, in the case of teenagers, managing your time productively without being influenced by culture, where studying 9 hours is the only way to get it in life, here are a few ways that I now manage my time and energy and got out of the whole burnout phase. Meditating. I used to think it was very cliche to meditate and often avoided it, but when I started doing it more, I realized how much calmer I felt. Believe me, it works. Just dedicate 5 minutes a day. That's it. Decide your mental stance. Burnout culture is not the bus you want to be in. Instead, try finding a routine that works for you. And for me, I realized accepting my flaws and ways of working helped me to progress better than ever. If I kept pressurizing myself to be good as others, I often ended up doing worse. But when I started working with the mindset of self improvement and progress, for me and no one else, everything changed. I got mentally and physically better. What about you, Arena and Krishna? Do you have any tips to add?
I
Yeah,
feel
I
that
would
it's more
definitely
like
like to add that you can probably go to some therapies if you're having some kind of, like a tension or a anxiety problem because of all the, piled up work that you have or something that's really, making you a little stressed. So you can probably go for some therapy. And like you said, you can probably meditate. That can make your brain a little more calmer and you a little more calmer, definitely. Trisha, what about you? What do you think?
I think we have to get that thing outside our head that we always need to compete with people. The way you are feeling, maybe that's not actually the way others are feeling. Maybe they're better in their mental stance, and you are not, and you can't compete with them there. Then and there. Suppose your classmate gets 100 on a test and you don't, and that's okay. I think we need to get that competitiveness out of our head to actually be in a better mental place and to work towards our goals without being burned out.
Definitely agree, guys. That couldn't hold more true. And also, I'd like to add that starting a routine also works. Studying efficiently for 2 hours is way better than 5 hours of distraction and like slow paced learning. Scheduling your time based on your energy levels and working while you have like the most energy and relaxing when you have lower energy definitely works. There's nothing wrong with being productive. It's just when it takes a toll on your mental health as well as your physical health and it goes well overboard. Just like exercise, rest days are very vital for our body to recover. Otherwise, you'll end up taking a longer break, which you may never ever bounce back from. Take some rest, and here are a few ways that you can do that productively. There's no need that rest has to be a long time of just lying in bed and not doing any work. It can also help you in a good way. So do an activity that you love, be it painting, singing, dancing, hosting a podcast, etc. Do whatever calms your mind, makes you feel more centered, and something that's originally yours and that you enjoy. Have a date with yourself where you just hang out with your thoughts, maybe in a park, on the beach, or even a quaint dinner at home. I know that cooking and baking definitely relaxes me. Play a relaxing game or like read a fun book. That's always helpful to clear our thoughts. Start a new hobby. I mean, we have a lot to discover in the world, and there are so many hobbies that you can try. That will definitely help you to be productive and let your brain relax at the same time. Exercise. It actually brings out a lot of happy hormones in our body, and it will keep you active, will keep you feeling great at the end. It doesn't need to be a very intense, high workout. It can be as simple as doing yoga or just flexibility a little bit, and definitely mindfully sleep. There's nothing wrong with just lying down, but make sure it's mindful. You can just keep a timer for maybe 2 hours, 3 hours. Lie down, have the most calming, effective sleep of your life, rather than just lying in bed for like 13 hours a day. What about you guys? Do you have any other tips that you can actually implement in life?
Yeah, you can start by being a little more organized with your work. Like, you can set up like a timetable, or like if you have like a lot of assignments, you can probably complete them like 2 to 3 days before your due dates, or if any submission dates that you have. Definitely, you can work on making like a timetable for your daily routines, like what time to wake up, so you have good amount of time to complete the work that you were left with. Yeah, that's pretty much all from my side. That's the only tip I could think of.
I think we should like also concentrate on listening to music. Many people who are influenced by hustle culture think that listening to music is equivalent to wasting time, but actually that's not true. Many wise men in history, like Shakespeare, have also said that people who listen to music are really, really organized. So you can spend some time in listening to music. After all, it's also considered a therapy. So I think that that's a good tip if you are having a mental breakout.
That's definitely true. I agree with both of you so much, because like yeah, hustle culture is just the ideology of there are so many idolized people in like social media and real life, and we just often see the good part of their life and we think like, oh no, and I should also like work as hard, or I should do as much, and you often end up doing less than what you're genuinely capable of. And like I said in the teaser, there are many people who are like often idolized in for example, Rory Gilmore or Hermione Granger. Both are very smart young women. And looking at them when I was younger, I often think like, okay, I need to study for like every second of my day if I want to be as smart as Hermione. Or I need to spend all my time organizing and like exclude all social events from my life if I want to be as successful as Rory. What about you guys? Do you have like ever felt that at any point in your life where
Exactly.
hustle culture really affected you?
I just do agree with that part when you say that you felt like you need to study like Hermione to be as intelligent as her. But then wait a minute, does Hermione exist? I am sorry, not. When she doesn't exist, then why do you need to imitate something like her? So I feel that books and movies also play a role here. They just often, show somebody so perfect that may or may not exist. A person like that just cannot exist.
Definitely agreed with you, Krisha. Sometimes even parents feel, influenced by these speakers or someone who goes, "Oh, you have to be the Miss Perfect or Mister Perfect," but you don't need to be. You need to be yourself. Just concentrate on what you do. That's all it matters about.
Yeah, that's definitely there. So like hustle culture is, yeah, I mean I've heard it all around. Like I see so many quotes everywhere I go that you have to work hard, you have to spend all your time working. And I still believe that a lot, but that really got me nowhere. And when I started prioritizing the fact that I had to work at a good rate with like good energy throughout, rather than just putting my all into like this one big moment and then I just burn out. And rather than just doing that, I could space out my time, space out my energy, and like achieve more in a long period of time, because like that's what really matters in the end: efficiency, consistency. More than getting that perfect score or that perfect life in one go, if you're consistent with it, if you're efficient with it, that's a lot more productive than just being productive for like a few months. So yeah, like that basically concludes almost there. So there are so many ways to be efficient without like overworking ourselves. Always remember that it's progress over perfection. And it's better to work effectively and smarter than harder. I know hard work is practically preached all our lives, but definitely working smarter has been followed by some of the greatest geniuses, entrepreneurs, and business leaders in like all around society. So it's better to work better to work smarter than harder. And I hope you guys could learn more about hustle culture and how to deal with it in this episode. And I recommend something: as soon as you're free, get a journal or a notebook and write down all the goals you want to achieve this year before this year ends. And write it down spaced out. There's something known as SMART goals, which are something I would definitely recommend to work, smarter than harder, pun intended. SMART goals stand for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound goals. You can definitely search more about it. And these goals are a lot more achievable and a lot more not stressing out than just, writing something that is quite unachievable and expecting yourself to get there. What about you, Reena and Krisha? Do you have anything to add? Or like, have you ever tried journaling or any of these tips before?
Yes, I've actually tried journaling in the middle of the lockdown because I was feeling a little lonely sometimes. So, to basically jot down what I think daily and some of the daily goals I wanted to complete in a particular day. So, my day did not go waste in the entire lockdown. I definitely followed journaling, or not really journaling. I would also say it as, making a goal book for myself. So, yeah, I definitely followed. And if in the future I ever have like a problem with hustle culture, I would definitely come back to your podcast series and listen to it. That's for sure.
I have
Thank
not
you.
tried,
That's, yeah.
I have like not tried journaling yet so far, but I think I'm going to try this after this podcast because I think that hustle culture somewhere or the other affects all of us. Like there is some place when we feel burnout, there is some place when we feel like overworked. So I think yeah, I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, it's important to always like bounce back the right way. And if you haven't tried journaling yet, that's like perfect. So like now you can start it with the rest of our audience, because that would definitely be an amazing way to, grow as a person rather than just stay stagnant. So definitely learn to be infinitely patient with yourself and always know that you're learning and growing. So thank you, Araina and Krisha, for being such wonderful co-hosts. I enjoyed talking with you and enjoyed hosting this podcast with you guys. And as we wrap up today's episode, I would definitely say don't get into the huss of hustle culture. Stay safe and stay curious, fellow audience. And this is Vibisha signing off.